Hello, and here is Explode Your Coaching Business podcast, brought to you by gtex.org.uk. I am your host, the one and the only Simone Vincenzi, and this is the podcast for coaches, speakers, and trainers who want to grow their businesses by making an impact in the world. Now, if you want to learn how to sell from stage, make sure you go on www.gtex.org.uk/start, where we have for you a Selling from Stage Ultimate Checklist, where we tell you what to do first, what to do second, and third to create a presentation that sells without you being a douchebag. Now, today in this episode, we have the one and the only Daniel Holley. Now, Daniel is the founder of First Nature and is one of our awesome GTEx Advanced members. So you know that every now and then I introduce you to the members of our community, other amazing coaches, speakers, and trainers who are there making an impact in the world. And I'm really excited about this interview because, oh my god, it was it was hilarious, okay? We started laughing from the beginning until the end, in particular until the end. And we talked about naming your signature programs. We talked about how to be fully yourself as a coach or a speaker, how to stand out from the crowd, how to react also when you have humbling experiences, aka people putting you in your place. So you know, when you meet someone else that actually knows more than you do, how do you react to that and how do you learn from that experience? And much, did I say much? Yes, I said much more. Also, make sure you subscribe to our podcast. If you don't, remember, you are doomed. So subscribe right now. And if you want to reach out to me, you can send me an email at Simone, SIMONE, at gtex.org.uk. That comes straight into my inbox. And with that, drum roll, let's start the music. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Explode Your Coaching Business Show. And today we are here with the one and the only Daniel Holley. Daniel, how are you doing today?
Hello, I'm great, how are you?
Incredibly well, thank you very
Wonderful.
much. Now, Daniel, we just finished a 5-hour session together, so it's been really intense. Now, you are running a company which is called First Nature, right?
Indeed.
First Nature, and with First Nature, you are helping people that want to do something with their life. They still haven't found yet what is that thing, and they are unfulfilled and frustrated in their job.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Why? Why the heck do you do that bloody thing? What got you to do the bloody thing in the first place?
Oh man, I was one of those people. Who was in a job that was so incredibly unfulfilling. It was horrible. And even if I try to find joy in my work, even if I try to find some kind of value out of my work, it would always be the same thing. They just knocked me back. And I did feel trapped. You do it for so long that eventually what happens is it becomes your life. It becomes a pattern. It becomes this habit of getting up and going to work, not because you want to, but because you feel that is your only option. And then, unfortunately, one day you wake up and you go...
You wake up. One day you wake up. One day...
Yeah, well, eventually you wake up. Eventually you wake up. One day you wake up and you go, why am I so angry? Why am I hungover yet again for the umpteenth time? Why can I really not stand another day at work? And why am I doing this to myself? And I went through a whole rigmarole of waist-high sewage that was just trying to figure all of that out. And it actually came to a pretty dramatic stop, actually. It came to a very dramatic stop.
What happened?
If I can be very honest, what happened...
Please be honest.
Oh, yeah, no, I'll be as open as I can be. Now, when I say hungover every day, I genuinely mean that. I was on about 2 bottles of wine a night for...
2 bottles of wine a night?
Yeah, that was how I got to sleep.
Wow.
So that was it. And I was in a place where I didn't believe that I could get to sleep naturally.
Just a question. Do you still have a liver?
No.
You
Thankfully.
still have one?
Yes,
okay,
thankfully. That's what it was. And it got to a point where I'd gotten so drunk one night that I actually did have to actually question my own place and position in the world. I had to actually question whether or not, if I'm really to be honest, whether or not I was simply just a waste of space. And that was it. That was the moment right there when I actually caught myself genuinely considering not existing anymore, and where I was like, this is not even close. This is so the opposite of where you ever wanted to be.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing here? That was actually the initial stage that I realized I was using self-talk at that point. I didn't realize this until, hindsight has 20/20 vision. So I look back on that and I was like, wow, you genuinely actually talked yourself out of it. That little voice in the back of all of our heads popped up and went, no, you're not doing this right now because this isn't how you go out. You have a story. This isn't how you manage.
How can you manage your self-talk? I mean, if you're starting out, and in particular, talking about our guys, they are all people that are starting out as coaches, speakers, trainers. How sometimes it can be tough, particularly when you're before going on stage and you're very nervous. How do you get yourself to talk positively in yourself? But in particular, when you are stressed, when you're just in the low moment.
Do you know what it takes? I'm not gonna lie. It takes a lot of practice. Right. And for me, I've realized, and I realized this only recently, that the self-talk I practiced when I was drinking. You sat alone in your room drinking 2 bottles of wine. I know this isn't the message. I'm not going to tell everyone to drink 2 bottles of wine a night to practice self-talk. I just want to say that now.
Yeah, that's what you're going to do, guys. So
that's not at all what I'm telling you to do. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. No, I realized when you're sat alone in your room drinking like that, you who else are you going to talk to?
Right.
Who else are you going to talk to?
So you were talking to yourself anyway.
Pretty much. Not out loud, I might say, but in your head. And it was negative. I was lucky, I'll be honest. The thing is, some people aren't.
No.
And I was lucky that I had myself backing me up going, dude, like, this ain't even how you're going to go out. You haven't even achieved what you wanted. You haven't even recognized what you're capable of fully. So this isn't how you're going out at all. And it took a little time. I quit drinking. What was...
I was quitting drinking. Do you find it easy or was it tough? I'm saying this because probably my father was an alcoholic, and for him was very hard. It was very, very hard. It took years for him quitting drinking. So did it take for you that long? Was it difficult? How was the experience there?
Can I be honest again in terms of that?
Of course, be honest, if you want.
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm
going to lie next time. I'm just going to tell a lie. I'm just like,
please don't lie.
So I met the Queen, and no, that the same voice that saved me at that time was the same one that stuck. I held on to that because I realized that was the person I should have been listening to the whole time. When I think about younger, that was the person that said, "Hey, maybe you should ask Facebook if you could get a presenter job," and that was actually the voice that got me the job on Car Throttle, which you guys can still see on YouTube. And it was the same voice that got me... it was the same voice that got me all the good things, really. And I just appreciated that. I was like, okay, you're the person, you're the Dan I want to listen to from now on. The difficulties lie in recognizing that I was not going to sleep well.
Right.
And you don't. You don't sleep well. The first 2 weeks, you are lying in bed, tired as hell. But you just stay on point. Actually, I'll be honest, the first time I did it, I thought I could quit smoking at the same time. That is a terrible idea. That is a genuinely terrible idea because that's too much for your body to handle. But it was 2 weeks of just not sleeping and just having to remind yourself over and over again. And this is practice. This is part of the course. Is that you start the recognition, but you cannot give up on yourself. You just have to keep sticking to it. I've got a guy right now who I've told this to as well, who I've said, you recognize that you need to get value in yourself, but that's not going to happen overnight. Like the habits we form in how we feel bad about ourselves, the habit we form in when we tell ourselves bad things, that's a habit that your mind does, and it's harder actually to create a pattern in your head that's positive because your mind already has this pattern. You need to be conscious of it. You need to be aware of it every single time. You need to recognize the triggers. When your head starts going to a funny space, you need to catch it and go, we're not going there today. And it's constant. After a while, what happens beautifully is that your mind does it for you. See, what I'll do is I'll give you a point you need to go to. When you recognize that negative thing, I'll give you a point you need to go to, a point you can go to, so that actually what happens is, at first, you'll start to get into that negative state or that habit that you don't like, and you'll start to move into it. And what I tell you to do is I tell you to recognize it and consciously force yourself to think about that other thing, that next thing. And you keep doing that over and over and over again.
Training like a rubber band, right? It's like it gets more elastic the more the more you pull it.
Yeah. How can I put this now? Maybe not so much like that. It could be almost. I think of an analogy off the top of my head.
Like an animal.
Top of my head.
Like an analogy of an animal.
I'm trying to think of that. Exactly that. Imagine.
For those of you that are not understanding right now, is because Daniel's program is freaking awesome. He actually uses animals in order to get people to understand different concepts and use and have different kind of behavior. So, for example, if someone is looking for courage, the symbol is a tiger. Then we have the meerkat as a symbol of awareness. So that's the way that Daniel is doing things originally in his own way. And I think that is a great message for every coach, every speaker out there, which is creating their own signature program. You don't need to blend in. You can do something that you love. You can do something that you're passionate about and do it in your own way, not following the standard personal development things.
Yeah.
So do you have the metaphor now? Is it coming to you? Or
Thank you. I didn't realize you were covering me in that time.
I was buying time.
Mate, I got nothing.
Okay, that's fine. Moving on. That's fine.
But no, if I may very quickly, the end result is basically that I tell you to go there, but what you'll find is that after doing that over and over again, you don't even get to the negative thoughts. You immediately jump to that positive thing. And that's what will happen in your mind. You'll get this pattern of the trigger will come in and you'll just jump straight to where you want to be and go, you won't go through the negative things. You'll jump straight to, I just want to get this over and done with. I want to be better at this. And and it's reinforcement constantly in yourself. And the pattern builds and builds until eventually you don't even actually have to think about having to change your state of mind because your state of mind is in a positive one.
Yeah,
and that's one of the things.
That's also what is your attitude. What is unique about you, which is being a go-getter, being a straight talking as well. So we've been actually talking a lot about how to create a program that can really stand out. No, come back. Yeah, really creating. Creating a program that can really stand out. And the name of your program is like, what's the name of your program? I'll let you tell this.
Okay, so the name of the program and the rebuttals. The name of the program is Wake Up, Own Your Shit, and for fuck's sake, move your ass.
Thank you. Now, why did I ask Dan to say his program? The reason why it is because I think that sometimes in the personal development industry is sugar-coated. And there are a lot of people that would actually be straight talking and say how things as they are at their own friend. So if I'm meeting a friend, I say, hey mate, get your shit together, come on. And I think that sometimes what we are lacking in this industry is authenticity. And as soon as we found, for example, also with you, as soon as we found that, you started saying, that's me. That's actually how I talk.
Yeah, this is literally me.
I feel comfortable sharing this program. I can feel comfortable delivering those kind of talks.
Definitely.
So you had now a bit of experience in the world of speaking and coaching. And there are a lot of people that will love to start out there. What are the things that, in your opinion, your brief experience here in this industry, what are the things that you wish you had done different from the beginning, or do you think that they need to consider in order to start, knowing what you know right now?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I always like teetering on the edge of danger and being a little bit too brave. I love doing that. And actually, you remember one of the things we said when we first met was I wanted to change the public speaking world.
Yes.
That's one of the first things I said to you.
Yes.
That's still there. That's a long way coming. But
you're an amazing speaker.
You're
a natural speaker. I mean, you haven't seen Daniel speak. You gotta go and see him speak. He is freaking awesome on this. He owns the stage, and you haven't been doing this for long, but you go up there and you're like, oh wow, you're freaking awesome. So keep going.
And really, what it is this has actually come from what I've gone through and what I've resulted in is when you are comfortable in exactly who you are, you recognize what you're comfortable doing, what you're comfortable not doing, or what you're not comfortable doing, etc., etc. Yeah. When we settled with this title for the course, we were looking at other things. I think this is an example of it. Is naturally, actually, I will have to say, there are still things you need to know, but it's about how you tailor that to yourself. And I kind of wish I'd always wanted to do that from the beginning. Always just go, how do I want to do this? How do I want to do this? How do I want to do this? I guess you do have the natural thing of not wanting to go in like a steam train and doing everything your way. Because I'll be honest, I know that there are things that I was doing immediately that I needed to stop.
Yeah.
But it was only because I didn't understand the structure.
We call them humbling experiences.
Actually, can I say? Is
you
that
can
all
say,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to say right now, for example, one of the exercises is part of a public speaking session I'll do with the customers, with the clients, excuse me, and then...
Something dropped.
You okay? No, I'm fine, I'm fine.
Okay. Right, go for it.
And part of that is obviously vocal training, getting people to use their voice properly and so on. And I was speaking to another coach about this.
Carrie, shout out to Carrie.
Carrie, hey, what's up,
Carrie? We love you.
And it was a humbling experience, although I put it in a much crasser terms. That she put me in my place. She put me in my place. And this is an example of exactly what I'm talking about. Because I was going in there going, I want people to recognize their inner voice, their true voice, da-da-da. And she just looked at me and was like, so you basically want people to use their diaphragm properly? And I was like, yeah, use their inner voice. And she was like, no, you want them to use their diaphragm properly. And it just put me just like, bam, shut up, Dan, stop it. And it was just this moment of like, stay in your lane, buddy. Don't even think about stepping into my area because that's not going to happen. And I recognized that, and it was embarrassing, but I realized, it was a humbling experience, but it kept me in my lane and made me think, okay, don't be too bold. Make sure you know what you're doing in order to make it yours. Know what there is out there to make sure that it is personal, because anyone can technically take something and make it their own. But if they don't really understand the infrastructure, the bones and flesh of that thing, they don't actually know what they're toying with. It's dangerous. It's dangerous.
It's very dangerous. And in particular, when you're looking at the coaching industry, there are a lot of people that are starting, they are reading a book and they want to become a coach. And most of the time, there is the lack of knowledge behind that. There is the life experience, which is what gets us wanting to become a coach.
Absolutely.
But sometimes there is lack of how to. So make sure that, I remember, this was my speaker trainer always said it to me, make sure that your credibility is always less than the amount of the information that you know. So it means that always got to know more of your marketplace, because otherwise then if someone can call you out and you're there on a stage, boom, like you can lose everything in a moment. But if you're doing like right now after that experience, and I had many experiences like that myself. Many.
Do share, please. Go ahead. Tell us all about it.
Oh yeah, definitely. When I started helping people, I wanted to start helping people finding their purpose at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a bloody clue of what my purpose was in the first
Oh
place.
man.
And I had people saying, you know what, you might have maybe to find yourself first instead of just using other people as, I remember this. So my coach said, why using other people as an excuse not to face yourself?
Oh, that's probably, you know what, that's probably big in coaching.
Another one was, I was creating my signature program, my first one, Live Your Purpose, Live Your Life. And my coach looked through the program and said, there is nothing new, there is nothing different. You're just copying and pasting other people's exercises. And then she said, why don't you love yourself enough to believe that what you're coming up with is good stuff for other people?
Ooh.
So, well, I love myself. I said, no, why don't you love yourself? Because if you were to love yourself, you knew that the stuff that you can put out from your experience, then they are quality.
Indeed.
That was another big slap, man. I can't go forward. But it's your interview, it's not my interview. We can do it. We can do a special episode.
I was enjoying it.
I know you were.
Not the only one who made mistakes, guys. Okay.
I know.
Not just me.
I know you were. So one of the things is stay in your lane. Know what you're talking about and make sure you're the best at talking at it, or at least you know very well your market. Then another thing that you wish you knew before, you started?
Okay, I wish. Oh, actually, do you know what? I'm not saying I regret anything at all. I just wish I knew exactly how much work there was that goes into this. I tell you what, anyone out there listening right now who fancies being a coach, prepare yourself. Seriously, prepare yourself, because this ain't. Obviously, we see people out there talking on stage, and they make it look easy, but that's because they're good at it. Some of these people have been doing this for years, longer than maybe some of us have been alive. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
but they've been doing it for a long time. Long time.
Tony
They make this stuff look easy. And any professional does make their stuff look easy. But the second you take one step into the pond, you realize it is an ocean and you are going to drown. That's it. Like, it's big. It's vast. And the amount of science that goes behind what looks like simply standing on stage and reading off some slides is, honestly, to the wrong kind of coach, it is overwhelming and intimidating, and it'll put you to bed. It will just put you to bed. So I wish I was aware of that before I went in, because I would have been able to kind of prepare. Because actually, again, as you know, I just wanted to accelerate.
Yeah.
And every time you were like, okay, do this work. Okay, do this work. Do this work.
But I want to accelerate.
Come on! Just give it a try.
But I gotta get it done.
But every time we do the work, it makes sense. And actually, I'm seeing another piece of the puzzle go in. Do you know what I mean? And it's really helpful. But if I'd have known that at the beginning, then obviously I probably wouldn't have been wanting to push. Or actually, to be fair, I may have even pushed harder, because I'd be like, that's the mountain I need to climb. Let me get to the peak as soon as I can. So obviously continue climbing as you do. But I know where I want to be. I just want to go.
And I remember when I started...
Be careful, everyone.
When I started, I was... And a lot of people that start a business, they are like this. They want things yesterday, right? You want things yesterday. And the challenge is that if you don't have a solid foundation, then you can build a castle on sand. And if the sand gets wet, then... Spluttity, ploppity, pop, right?
It's over.
That's actually the sound effect, the spluttity, ploppity. I'm going to patent this sound effect now. So, now... Daniel, what is now that we are wrapping up?
Okay.
What is some of like a piece of wisdom that you would like to leave to our listeners, and what is a message that you can leave for them for their life to make their life better?
This is one that actually in the progress of my program that I put together, I actually want to leave everyone this message, and coaches and non-coaches alike. I want you all to know that you as you are is enough. I know there's goodness in you, and that's enough. Just recognize that. And you can do wonderful, wonderful, wonderful things.
Can I give you a hug, man?
Yeah, come here, you just do Did anyone order a burger with their cheese?
Alright. So from and then Daniel, how can people get in touch with you? Where can people find out
if
about you?
If you type into your wonderful Facebook keyboardy computer things, Daniel Holley, First Nature, you're going to find my work right there. Please do get in touch, like the page. And I'll be posting videos on a regular basis, letting you know some little insights into what it is I do, and of course what it is I aim to do for you guys as well. So I'll be right there. I'm always there as well.
Brilliant. So make sure, Daniel Holley, First Nature, get out there. His videos are freaking awesome. You know, sometimes you look at a video and it's like, oh, come on, shut up. So you want to kill yourself, and actually supposed to be a motivational speaker, right? Like sometimes you feel like there are this kind of videos.
No, I know.
But actually, you actually watch one of these videos and they keep you glued from the moment it starts to the moment it finishes. So make sure you go and check out his videos. Guys, again, from Explode Your Coaching Business Show and Simone Vincenzi is everything. If you haven't subscribed yet to our podcast on wherever you are, on iTunes or Stitcher, make sure that you subscribe. What are you doing?
I'm dancing. I can't talk. I just want everyone in the live video to see something.
Okay, right. That's perfect. So, guys, make sure you subscribe and subscribe now. Otherwise, Daniel is going to keep doing this weird dance, which is not good looking. I tell you.
Give us hearts. Give us likes.
For you that you're listening to the podcast as we are recording this on Facebook Live as well, you're missing Ugliest Daniel's dance. But make sure you subscribe, leave us a comment, and see you on another episode. From Simone and Daniel is everything. Bye!
Bye!